I didn't expect a weekend with my father to change anything. For years, we lived like shadows in the same house, present but distant. After Mom passed, grief didn't draw us closer. Instead, it built quiet walls. We moved through life side by side, but in silence, like ghosts haunting the same space. We didn't fight. We didn't shout. We just stopped speaking beyond what was necessary. The air at home felt like a museum of what used to be, carefully preserved, rarely touched. Then, one early spring morning, something shifted. There was no plan, no long conversation, just a feeling. We both needed something, though neither of us could say what. "Let's drive to the coast," he said, almost offhandedly while pouring coffee. I blinked at him. "Okay," I replied. We each packed a single bag, no agenda, no expectations, just the quiet hope that maybe the sea could say what we couldn't. The drive was mostly silent, a few comments about the trees blooming, the soft light slicing through the clouds. But there was no pressure, no forced chatter, just the road winding ahead of us and the comfort of shared stillness. As we reached the edge of the beach town, something changed. The dunes opened before us, like a memory waiting to be revisited. The ocean spread wide and silver, greeting us like an old friend. The moment I stepped out of the car and into the salt-tinged air, I felt something in my chest loosen. Walking onto the sand was like returning to a place I hadn't known I was missing. The grains were cool beneath my feet, the breeze soft on my cheeks. I glanced at Dad, expecting the usual guarded expression, but instead I saw a quiet smile and peace in his eyes. We didn't speak. We just stood there, shoulder to shoulder, watching the tide roll in. And somehow, in that silence, everything felt a little bit lighter. That afternoon, we wandered the shoreline. Shoes in hand, pants rolled up, letting the surf chase our steps. Dad pointed out bits of driftwood, shells, sea glass, smoothed by years of tumbling waves. I laughed, really laughed, as he told stories I hadn't heard in years. Stories from his childhood, from when he first met Mom. For the first time in a long time, I remembered what it felt like to be his daughter. I could hear my mother's laughter in the wind, feel her presence in the crashing waves. The sound of my own giggling echoed faintly in my memory. Me, small and smiling on his shoulders, my arms wrapped around his neck. As the sun dipped lower, casting golden light across the shore, we found a weathered log and sat. The waves filled the silence with something gentle and complete, something that didn't require words. Then he reached for my hand. My breath caught. It was the same hand that steadied my bike, that passed me popcorn during movie nights, that held mine when I was too scared to fall asleep. I squeezed it back, and he looked at me, not with the distance of the past few years, but with something warmer, something familiar. That night, we built a small fire on the beach. Sparks danced up into the darkening sky. We talked, really talked. I told him about my life, my job, my fears, the dreams I'd never spoken aloud to anyone. And he listened. Not distractedly, not with polite nods, but with his whole heart. Then he opened up too. He spoke about his youth, about regrets he'd carried, the loneliness he never admitted, things I never imagined he'd share. The firelight made him look younger, or maybe just softer. For the first time, we weren't just father and daughter. We were two people who had carried too much grief for too long, finally setting it down. The next morning, I woke to the sound of the waves and the smell of sea air. He was already outside, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the horizon. I joined him quietly. We watched the sunrise in silence. That silence wasn't empty. It was full of everything we hadn't said, yet somehow understood. "This was a good idea," he murmured. I nodded, too choked up to answer. The rest of the weekend moved gently, like a soft current pulling us somewhere new. We visited the local market, wandered between handmade crafts, woven baskets, and paintings of the sea. I bought a necklace made of sea glass, green and smooth and imperfect. "Do you like it?" I asked him. He looked at it, then at me. "It's beautiful," he said, "just like you." He didn't say things like that often, and in that moment, I felt seen, really seen. Later, we sat on a bench by the harbor. Boats bobbed quietly in the water. I looked at him and finally found the courage to say what had sat on my heart for years. "I missed you," I whispered. He turned slowly. His eyes were glassy. "I missed you too," he said. "And I'm sorry. I wasn't always there when I should have been." He reached for my hand again. We sat like that. Two people, one silence, and 1,000 unsaid things finally spoken. That night, we returned to the beach one last time. The sky was painted with lavender and rose as the sun sank into the sea. He turned to me and smiled. "We'll do this again," he said. "More often. Life's too short to wait." I leaned into him, resting my head on his shoulder. Tears slipped down my cheeks, quiet and unburdening. "I promise," I whispered. Then he pulled something from his pocket, a small, worn notebook. Inside was a folded piece of paper, his handwriting, careful and neat. He handed it to me. "My dearest," it read, "from the moment you first held my hand to the woman you are now, I've watched you with awe. Your laughter, your kindness, your strength, these have been the best parts of my life. I haven't always known how to show it, but please know I'm proud of you, always." My vision blurred. I looked up at him. "This means everything," I said. He held my gaze gently. "You don't have to say anything," he murmured. "I just wanted you to know." Back at the cabin, the rain began to fall softly. We curled up by the fire, wrapped in blankets. Our laughter was soft and familiar, like it used to be. And for the first time in years, I felt peace. Not because everything was fixed, but because we'd found our way back to each other. The next morning, as the road unwound before us and the sea disappeared in the rearview mirror, I looked at him. He caught my eye and smiled. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for this." I smiled back, heart full. "Thank you, Dad, for coming with me." And as we drove forward, the ocean behind us, I knew this wasn't just a memory. It was the start of something new. A bond not etched in sand, but in soul.